He is in downtown Spartanburg and he thinks he knows the way, so there's no help for him here. Anyways, on behalf of Collective Consciousness, it's my pleasure to welcome you. We're trying to take this lecture and discussion to colleges across the state. We've been to the College of Charleston, USC, and Clemson. So this is our third. We were at Winthrop yesterday also. So fourth, I guess. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and start with Ty Davis, and then whenever Dave Mattis gets here, he's from a grassroots organization, Aiken Peace, and he'll carry on. Go ahead.
Thank you all for coming today. My name is Ty Davis. I'm a graduate student in history. After I graduate, I'll be going to the Middle East to work on the Palestinian-Israel conflict. I'm proficient in 5 languages. That's good at programming 7 computer languages, but my heart and passion has been human and civil rights. And I've worked with several organizations such as U.S. Campaign for Burma, Amnesty International, and a lot of other organizations. And what's happening here in the South, and the reason why we brought you to this room, is that something very special is happening in South Carolina, which most people say you can't have change in the state because it's too conservative. I don't know how far we'll go with this, but I noticed that we're coming together, several organizations, and it's amazing. Amnesty International is probably not leading it on, well, I would say, yeah, actually leading it. If it wasn't for Amnesty International, this possibility wouldn't be occurring now. So Amnesty International, we are getting help from Jewish Voice for Peace, J Street, AAPER. What you have in front of you is a congressional bill. It's an ugly draft. I wrote it. I'm a history major, I remind you. I just got tired of people talking about a solution, and I wrote a bill and I sent it to J Street, Jewish Voice for Peace, AAPER, Professor Noam Chomsky of MIT, and several other organizations, if Americans only knew. And they're looking at it. Unfortunately, there's problems with it. One is that there's a difference of opinion in the 1 or 2 state solution. AAPER won't even touch the bill unless it's a 2-state solution because they believe that anybody on the Hill is not going to take them seriously unless they propose a 2-state solution. Amazingly, Jewish Voice for Peace, they worked on the bill and they thought that it was, whether they believe in a 1-state solution or not, they looked at the principles and gave me some feedback. But I guess the purpose of the bill is to find some kind of consensus insofar as where all these organizations are willing to go to get something passed in the United States on this issue. Professor Noam Chomsky believes that we should start from a 2-state solution that eventually leads to one binational state. I disagreed with him respectfully because I really think from my study of struggles of minorities and oppressed people all over the world, which is my specialization, I think the psychological aspect isn't being addressed. My opinion is that no matter how many times or pieces you carve that lane into, you're not going to resolve the consistent from the cradle to the grave indoctrination by the religious, media, and educational establishments of the opposition having an inhuman face. Sometimes during conflict, we place a face on the opposition and attach values such as we can't compromise with them because they have an ideology which is maybe not inherent but is driving them and is totally diametric to ours or that different enough where there could be no compromise. And I think the psychological aspect of it is probably the issue that's not being addressed. And I plan on dedicating my career to go over there to work on that issue. And there's a lot of other people working on it. But probably some of you are asking, well, what can we do? Well, every year we have a march by the AAPER. Even though I disagree with the 2-state solution and the AAPER proposes a 2-state solution, if you're interested in this, this conflict, voicing or making a stand so that politicians can see that you care about this issue, we'll send you an email and I advise you to attend the AAPER marches. It's very interesting, it's fun, and we march in downtown Columbia every year and do fundraising. In addition, I think the most important issue in America that's going to be affecting this issue is that aid. Right now, that aid is considered unconditional. They say that aid cannot be changed no matter what. These are your tax dollars that are going to fund something that is augmenting the anti-Americanism here and abroad and endangering my family members who are in the military, and any of you who have family members in the military as well. When a person picks up an AK-47 and points it at your family that are fighting abroad, this issue is what possibly recruited them. The Palestinian population, the entire population, is at 74%, ladies and gentlemen. It is getting worse. 74% of the population are refugees. That's terrible. There's no justification. There's no excuse. The Jewish want peace, and they deserve peace, and we need to give them peace. I think it's endangering them if we continue to go the route we're going right now. The Jewish perspective is the Arab threat. What this bill addresses is House of Representative Bill 1105, which is the Omnibus Appropriations Act, and of course they'll have another one. If you look at it, the unconditional aid from us Americans to Israel is based on the premises that the Arab countries surrounding Israel are a threat to Israel. In addition to that, the premises to support this aid is also Al-Qaeda. But the aid's not going to fight Al-Qaeda or the Arab countries. It's going to fight a bunch of guerrillas whose technological weapons are primitive. They can be a threat in consideration of Hezbollah. They're real tough, but they're nowhere a threat in comparison to the Arab countries. I try to work on both sides of the issue, and I try to bring the Jewish and the Palestinians together. And the extremists on both sides are crazy. You know? I just got done talking to a Palestinian extremist who said, the Arab countries are not a threat to Israel. I said, the Arab countries tried to invade Israel twice. Are you serious? When the first Iraq War happened, what did Saddam Hussein do? First war, second war, excuse me, second Gulf War. Ooh, that was a big mistake. He shot scuds into Israel. Why? He tried to provoke that country to respond. Why? Because if he responded, what would happen? The Arab countries would go against Israel. The other thing that the U.S. is concerned about is the economic boycott on Israel. When I read the bill thoroughly, I saw that the economic boycott by the Arab countries on Israel is considered a national defense threat. So those are your three justifications for our unconditional aid. Your tax dollars going to Israel unconditionally is based on the threat of Al-Qaeda, which numbers less than the Crips and Bloods in this country. The surrounding Arab countries, which is a legitimate threat. I'm being objective here. It's a legitimate threat, even though some Palestinians don't think that it is. And the other one is the Arab economic boycott. What can you do? What you can do is making that aid conditional. A Jewish professor at Clemson University, Peter Coyne, he's a Jewish professor, and he said, we have to tell Israel, and he believes in an Israeli state, a Jewish state, with Palestinians and Israelis living together. But he said, we have to tell Israel, we will give you aid, we will prevent anything close to a Holocaust, we will take care of you if you start respecting the human rights of the people that also are your neighbors. This is a Jewish professor, and he's a huge inspiration to me. Now, a huge inspiration.
Just a question for information. So, do you know that if you look over the bill, how much money we're actually talking about in aid to Israel and aid to the PNA?
Israel is probably, Dave Matos is better on that, but from what I understood from our previous lectures, it's like the #1 recipient of our foreign aid. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, Dave Matos will tell you that. He knows all the specifics. I deal with the politics. I work with all the politicians. I'm sorry, but I'll tell him to answer that as soon as he comes in. But that's a very good question. There's a lot of aid going toward Israel, and it's all our tax dollars.
I know we have a lot going on with the Palestinian Authority, too. But
Yes, well, consideration for what we're doing with Israel is not that significant. But you're right, we are giving aid to the Palestinians. Is he here yet? Okay, I'm going to try to keep talking till he gets here. He's on the way.
I got lost coming into this building, so.
So you're going to have to convince your politicians somehow, some way, that this back and forth, tit and tat is not going to help. Now, there were some people, even a founding father in this great country, that said blacks and whites could never get along. What is the success of our generation? Blacks and whites do get along. There are people that wrote it could never happen. It would lead to the extermination of a race. Thomas Jefferson goes on the state of Virginia. Query 14, section title laws. Look it up. Thomas Jefferson said the elimination of one race will occur and can integrate them because blacks will never forgive whites for slavery. We get along. Yes, there are Crips and Bloods, there are black nationalists. Take Mr. Mattis, thank God. There are black nationalists that use propaganda.